A young woman named Lana shared a chilling clip that rapidly spread across social media, racking up more than 23 million views in a short span of time. The video, recorded late at night by her home security camera, captured a moment that left viewers stunned. Lana was alone in her bedroom, casually strolling through her phone when something completely unexpected happened. In the footage, what appears to be a strange hand suddenly reaches toward her and makes contact with her head. Startled, she immediately jumps up and frantically looks around the room. No one is visible. There is no sign of an intruder. Lana insists she was entirely alone that night and maintains that the incident was genuine, not staged for attention. She later uploaded a follow-up video describing the experience in detail, saying she cannot explain what touched her. Since then, she's begun to question whether something paranormal could be inside her home.
Observe momento que vai aparecer negócio aqui. E quem tá dizendo que é uma porta que tem aqui, eu vou mostrar agora pra vocês que não tem porta nenhuma. Pronto, tá aqui, ó, a poltrona onde eu estava, o carregador, a câmera ali. Aqui não tem porta, tá? Aí aqui, quando deitar, a pessoa vai mexer aqui, ó, na minha cabeça. Vai aparecer aqui, gente, ó. Perceberam que aqui, ó, é o carregador. Aonde eu mostrei não tem porta aqui, ó. Olha agora, ó. Olha. E sabe o que acontece? Eu puxo ainda. Eu vou puxar. Olha, eu acendi a luz. Ó.
It began as a scene that made no sense. On May 17, 2008, CCTV cameras along the M6 motorway in the United Kingdom captured two women walking along the narrow central reservation of one of the busiest highways in the country. Traffic roared past at high speed on both sides, cars and lorries missing them by mere feet. Drivers called emergency services in disbelief. Who would willingly walk into such danger? The women were later identified as Sabina and Ursula Eriksson, 40-year-old identical twins from Sweden. Though inseparable in appearance, their lives had taken different paths. Ursula had relocated in the United States while Sabrina had settled in Ireland with her husband and two children. Just one day earlier, on May 16, Ursula had flown to Dublin to visit her sister. What would have been a simple reunion quickly unraveled. Sabina became involved in a heated argument with her husband, reportedly escalating late into the night. Without informing anyone, the twins left the house together in the early hours. By the next morning, they had somehow traveled across the Irish Sea and arrived in Liverpool, England. There, they walked into a police station claiming Sabina's children were in danger and unsafe with their father. Officers briefly assessed the situation but found no immediate evidence supporting their fears. Instead, what stood out was the sisters' erratic and agitated behavior. After leaving the station, they boarded a bus headed toward London. During the journey, passengers grew increasingly uncomfortable with their conduct. The twins were described as intense, suspicious, and confrontational. Eventually, the driver removed them from the bus on the side of the motorway. What happened next defied logic. For reasons no one could explain, Sabina and Ursula began walking toward the M6 motorway itself. Instead of staying near the shoulder, they stepped directly into the central reservation between active lanes of traffic. Police were dispatched immediately, and by coincidence, a film crew from the television company Motorway Cops was already embedded with officers that day, documenting routine traffic enforcement.
Obviously the fastest lane of the motorway. Anyone being hit, you're expecting serious injury, if not life.
The cameras rolled as officers approached the twins, attempting to guide them to safety. Then, without warning, chaos erupted.
They were trying to cross the Bravo, so as we approached, they hadn't seen us, Mother. The red one's got knocked down by the red car over there. I've got an ambulance en route for her. Right. She seems all right, but I'm not a doctor. She has been knocked down.
Is she the one that speaks English or the other one?
Yes.
Right.
The other one, she's the...
Ursula suddenly ran into live traffic and was struck by a vehicle traveling at high speed. Moments later, Sabina followed, colliding with another car in the fast lane.
She's gonna run across.
Oh no! Mike Alpha, we need ambulance. Senior officers to the scene, we've got 2 possible fatals.
Within minutes, what had been confusion turned into a full-scale emergency response. Ursula suffered catastrophic injuries to her legs, described by paramedics as severely crushed, yet she remained conscious, screaming, cursing, and resisting treatment.
Calm down. Calm down. Mine's very aggressive. Calm down. We are the police. We are the police.
Sabina, who initially appeared unconscious, regained awareness and began shouting frantically that authorities were going to steal her sister's organs.
Oscar Tango 3-3.
It took multiple officers to restrain her. Despite her slight frame, her strength was defined as extraordinary.
No! Stay! Stay there. Calm down. Calm down.
Ursula was airlifted to a hospital for emergency surgery. Sabina, astonishingly, suffered no major physical injuries. She was arrested for assaulting officers and trespassing on the motorway. Toxicology reports later confirmed neither sister had drugs or alcohol in their systems. The prevailing explanation became a rare psychological condition known as folie à deux, or shared psychosis, a disorder in which delusional beliefs are transmitted between closely connected individuals. Officers considered detaining Sabina under Section 136 of the Mental Health Act, which would have required a psychiatric evaluation. Shockingly, this never occurred. She was released the following day without formal assessment, still displaying signs of paranoia and confusion. Alone in a foreign country and unaware of her sister's medical status, Sabina wandered the streets of Liverpool carrying her belongings in a police-issued evidence bag. That evening, she encountered a man named Glenn Hollinshead, who was walking his dog. Seeing she appeared distressed, he offered her temporary shelter in his home. What followed would turn an already disturbing case into something far darker. Inside Glenn's home, Sabina's paranoia intensified. She reportedly believed her cigarettes were poisoned and repeatedly checked windows for imagined threats. The next day, while Glenn briefly stepped outside, neighbors heard screams. He emerged bleeding heavily, crying out that Sabina had stabbed him. He collapsed shortly after and died from his injuries. Sabina fled the scene, striking her own head with a hammer while muttering incoherently. She assaulted a passerby with a piece of roof tile before climbing onto a 40-foot bridge over a highway and jumping. Miraculously, she survived, suffering fractures and head trauma. A trial, her defense argued that she had been suffering from a shared psychotic episode. She was ultimately convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 5 years in prison. The most unsettling element remains the missed opportunity for intervention on the motorway. Had Section 136 been enforced, Sabina might have received immediate psychiatric care. Glenn Hollinshead might still be alive. After her release in 2011, Sabina disappeared from public life. Ursula recovered physically but withdrew from media attention. To this day, the full truth behind the Erickson twins' behavior remains unanswered, a chilling case of shared delusion, tragic oversight, and irreversible consequences. This unsettling clip was captured by a security camera inside a small American workshop known for crafting eerie dolls and theatrical masks. One evening, a young employee stayed late to finish up some work. The building was quiet and she was preparing to head out for the night when something happened that completely caught her off guard. As she walked toward a table to grab an item, the head of one of the dolls nearby suddenly shifted. At first, it was subtle, almost easy to dismiss. She stopped and glanced around, clearly confused. Then without warning, the doll's head jerked sharply to the side. The movement was abrupt and impossible to ignore. Startled and visibly shaken, she jumped back and immediately ran from the room. While employees were still inside, a flower shop and a confectionery store in Cairo, Egypt was engulfed by a 50-foot, 15-meter deep sinkhole at a nearby gas station. As the ground shifted beneath the buildings, 2 people were slightly hurt. Authorities think the collapse was caused by nearby construction work that damaged the earth. A user by the name of David posted this horrific doorbell video on TikTok on December 14, 2025. Additionally, David describes how he and his family were awakened in the middle of the night by a frenzied knock on their front door. This would then lead David to go into it, where he would discover a woman who had already called 911 and claimed that she was being targeted for murder. And David acts without hesitation as he tries to assess the circumstances. However, this is just the start of the tale.
You are currently being recorded.
I need help. I need help. I need help. He wrestled me. He had a knife. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. Somebody, I'm on the phone with the police. Sir, somebody just tried to kill me, sir.
Where?
He's that way to the...
While the anonymous woman remains on the phone with 911, David starts searching for the attacker right away. David returns inside briefly, presumably to bring some protection, but he is unable to locate anyone. However, what follows is quite horrifying.
Hey, Papa. I'm out of breath. There's somebody just tried to kill me. ¿Usted? No. It's a black guy. He's nobody. I don't know him. He hurt me. He told me. He told me he was in the back of the book. He lifted me up. Oh my God. Okay, please. Yes, ma'am. Please. I don't have my glasses. I don't have the rest of my stuff is in this neighborhood.
The video then cuts off suddenly, but you can see the woman speaking with cops on the phone. The woman starts to flee for her life when the suspect returns to the frame and runs at her at full speed while carrying a knife. A horrified family member starts screaming at the suspect and telling him to stop. However, there is no indication that this insane person will quit.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for opening your door. I'm so sorry. Please go. Please go. No me la llame, carajo. Pero no está ni siquiera apure. Apure, vayan abajo. Anda. The neighbor's office. Please get the police here. Vaya abajo. Okay. Somebody's chasing him.
As you can see, the attacker leaps on the woman like a ferocious animal as she flees for her life. However, David practically saves her life when he chases after the assailant after hearing the disturbance. However, David had to inform everyone on the issue in the comments section after this video became viral. I appreciate all your kind words and care. Everyone is secure. The people responsible, however, were regrettably not caught. I realized that what I did might not have been the best course of action, but I felt obliged to act at the time. My only thought was that it might have been a sister or a daughter of mine who was in need of assistance. I'm aware that if I had done nothing, I would have regretted it. Furthermore, David did make some remarks suggesting that he attempted to stab her but was unsuccessful after they hit the ground, and she might not be here today if she hadn't knocked on his door and asked for assistance. The fact that the unnamed man was never located, however, is arguably the most horrifying aspect of the tale, making this one of the most unsettling doorbell recordings available online. This strange clip dates back to 2025 and was recorded by a security camera inside a family's garage somewhere in Mexico. According to the homeowners, they heard an unusual noise coming from the garage that day, something fluttering or moving around unexpectedly, curious and a little uneasy. They decided to review the CCTV footage to see what had triggered the sound. What they discovered left them stunned.
Vino de entonces de por Doña Vicky, ¿eh?
Sí, de aquí vino, de aquí bajó.
¿Y dónde está?
Ahí va.
Ahí está. Ay, mira mi madre. Mírala, mírala.
In the video, a small figure can be seen darting through the air inside the garage. At first glance, it looks like it could be a bird that somehow flew inside, but as the shape moves closer to the camera, its outline appears unusual. The proportions don't seem quite right, and for a brief moment, it almost resembles a tiny human form rather than an animal.
Ay, mira mi madre. Mírala, mírala.
In parts of Latin America, especially Mexico, folklore speaks of mystical beings often described as fairies. Some believe they are more than legends. Whether this was simply an odd-shaped animal or something else entirely remains open to interpretation.
Ay, mira mi madre. Mírala, mírala.
Muhammad Omana, 26, was living in Aurora, Sweden when his relationship with a woman named Maria began to unravel. Their time together had already been strained by multiple run-ins he had with the police, incidents that Maria ultimately viewed as warning signs. Over time, she felt his behavior had grown too unpredictable to ignore. Choosing her safety and peace of mind, she ended the relationship. But Muhammad refused to accept that it was over, especially after discovering she had been staying at the apartment of a male friend. On May 25th, he showed up at that friend's residence demanding to see her. Both Maria and the homeowner told him to leave and denied him entry. For a short while, it seemed he had backed down, but that calm didn't last. Within minutes, he returned, this time carrying a bladder.
En stege. Okej.
Vad gör du, Mohammed?
Ska man gå in?
Vad gör du?
As he positioned it against the building, the homeowner began recording. From behind the camera, the tension was thick but confusing. Muhammad didn't appear enraged. He wasn't shouting or making threats. Instead, he moved with a disturbing composure, climbing steadily toward the balcony. That quiet determination made it difficult to gauge what he intended.
Kommer upp här. Tror du kommer upp här?
Varför så med mig?
Nej.
Mohammed, du kommer inte upp här. Du kommer inte in i mitt hem. Du kommer inte in i mitt hem.
Any uncertainty vanished in an instant.
In i mitt hem. Därför han högg mig med en kniv. Han högg mig med en kniv.
As he reached the top, Muhammad suddenly lunged toward the person filming, striking him and forcing him to stumble back inside. The sliding glass door was slammed shut just as Muhammad stepped onto the balcony. It was then that he revealed a large kitchen knife in his hand.
Köttkniv. Såg ni det? Du, han krossar glaset med en sten.
Shaken but thinking quickly, the cameraman retreated deeper into the apartment. Maria had already locked herself inside the bathroom, barricading the only door separating her from her former partner. Muhammad advanced toward it, attempting to force it open. At one point, he even tried manipulating the lock with a knife. That bathroom door became the final barrier.
Släpp in mig på dassen, han kommer in. Han kommer in, Maria. Mohammed, hugg du. Mohammed, du högg mig redan.
Police arrived within minutes and took Muhammad into custody before he could break through. The man who had been filming suffered minor injuries, and Maria escaped physically unharmed. Muhammad Amana was later sentenced to 2 years in prison and barred from re-entering Sweden for a decade. While no one can say with certainty what he ultimately planned to do, the footage leaves little doubt this was never going to be a peaceful visit. This security footage dates back to 2025 and was recorded inside a woman's home in the middle of the night. At approximately 2:50 a.m., she was alone in her living room, quietly reading a book. The house was silent and nothing seemed out of place, until something shifted without warning. While fully absorbed in her reading, she suddenly felt movement beside her, as if something had brushed past or shifted near the couch. Startled, she jumped to her feet. Seconds later, a bottle sitting nearby toppled over and crashed onto the floor, even though no one was close enough to touch it. Shaken, she later uploaded a video describing the experience, explaining that the moment terrified her so badly she ran outside.
It's actually covered with 3 CCTV cameras for our own protection. And a lot of you are asking if I was reading a Bible that time. No. I was actually reading this. I'm a fan of anything that is ancient. A lot of you are also asking what was the whisper all about. I'm sorry, pero namali ako doon. It was not a whisper, but it was just a breathing. And something that was breathing, that is where alcohol bottle was placed. Something is protecting me there.
She insists the incident was not ordinary and believes her home may be haunted, especially since her security cameras have reportedly captured other strange and unexplained disturbances inside the house. A strange series of occurrences happened during a garbage collection in Luque, Paraguay. A resident tripped and fell while delivering a bag after stepping on an uneven patch of pavement. Ignoring her, the crew remained focused on their task. However, when the driver reversed, trapping one of the collectors under the car, things took a different turn. He responded fast and was able to cling to the chassis, so he came out unscathed. It was one of those scenarios where everything appeared to work together to make things go wrong. On the surface, duck hunting has a reputation for being one of the more controlled and predictable forms of hunting. It typically unfolds along calm shorelines or marshes rather than in dense backcountry where large predators roam. There is a perception that because it happens near open water and in relatively accessible areas, the risks are limited. But as with any outdoor pursuit, conditions can shift without warning. In November of 2020, Ethan from the Lucas Ranks YouTube channel experienced just how quickly a routine outing can spiral into something far more serious. It was early morning when Ethan headed out, shotgun in hand, positioning himself near the water's edge as the sky began to lighten. After waiting patiently for hours, scanning the surface for movement, he finally spotted a duck within range. He lined up the shot and fired. The bird fell, but not close enough to retrieve easily. Instead of landing near the bank, it dropped farther into the lake than he anticipated. Without access to a boat, Ethan made the decision to wade out and collect it. He had hunted many times before, but this was a lake he didn't know well. That unfamiliarity would matter. Just a short distance from shore, the lake bed sloped sharply downward. One step forward, and the ground vanished beneath him. Suddenly, he was no longer standing. He was fighting to stay afloat. Although Ethan was capable of swimming, the situation deteriorated almost immediately. His waders flooded with water in seconds, becoming heavy and restrictive. What would normally be a manageable swim turned into a dangerous struggle. The added weight dragged at his legs, limiting movement and pulling him downward. Each attempt to kick felt sluggish. Each breath required effort. The water was bitterly cold, adding another layer of danger. Cold shock tightens muscles and robs the body of coordination quickly. Even strong swimmers can falter when temperature becomes a factor. The longer he remained in the water, the greater the risk of hypothermia setting in. Most alarming of all, Ethan was completely alone. There was no hunting partner nearby to lend a hand, no one watching from shore, no quick rescue if things worsened. In that moment, the only thing standing between him and disaster was his ability to stay calm. After a tense and exhausting struggle, he felt something solid beneath him, an underwater ledge. Using it for leverage, he pushed upward and managed to claw his way back towards shallower ground. Soaked, drained, and shaken, he made it back to shore. His survival was a combination of composure, instinct, and sheer fortune. It was a stark reminder that water, especially cold water, allows almost no margin for error. Even familiar activities can become life-threatening in seconds. A man named Loki began noticing something unsettling in his home. After returning from work, he would often find items displaced, objects knocked onto the floor, furniture slightly shifted, things clearly not where he had left them. At first, he blamed his cat, assuming the pet had been knocking things over while playing. But when the disturbances kept happening, even in ways that didn't make sense for an animal to cause, he decided to install a security camera to see what was really going on. What the camera captured one night genuinely frightened him. In the footage, a lamp begins flickering without anyone nearby. Moments later, a doll positioned in the room appears to move on its own. Even more unsettling, the cat can be seen staring intensely into an empty corner, focused on something that is invisible on camera. After reviewing the video, Loki became convinced his cat wasn't responsible after all. Now he believes something else may be inside his home. On his social media page, a man named Javier usually shares simple clips from his daily life. Nothing dramatic, just ordinary moments. But one upload quickly drew far more attention than the rest. One evening, while visiting someone at a hospital in Argentina, Javier noticed something strange. As he walked through the parking area, he heard an unusual sound behind him. It wasn't loud, but it was distinct enough to make him stop. When he turned around to check, there was nothing there. No movement, no one nearby. At first he brushed it off, but seconds later, something far more unsettling caught his eye.
En este momento en el microhospital escuchamos un golpe y nos dimos vuelta porque dijimos, bueno, ¿quién está entrando? La cuestión de que no hay nadie atrás nuestro. Y miramos dentro del auto y dijimos, oh, pues si el auto... ¿Qué mierda es? Lo peor de todo es que no queremos salir. O sea, no... Un miedo, la puta madre. Lo peor de todo es que se mueve adentro del auto y no hay nadie. O sea, ahora vamos a ir a controlar el auto. Pero parece como si fuese un reflejo. La puta madre. No, boludo. Ya, salimos rápido para que vean que no es mentira. Mamá, la piel de gallina, hermano. Piel de gallina. Cagazo. Nadie. 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 Un montón. Es un montón. Mierda. Y encima nos mira la puta que te parió. No, chabón. No.
Inside a parked car nearby, he claims he saw movement in the front seat. What appeared to be a pale grayish face briefly came into view. The sight startled him enough that he immediately took out his phone and began recording. When Javier approached the vehicle to investigate, he says it was empty. No driver, no passenger. The surrounding area also appeared deserted. Some viewers later suggested the image could have been a reflection on the windshield, perhaps light bouncing off glass or a distorted shape from something nearby. But Javier insisted that directly in front of the car there was only a wall and a ceiling, nothing that could realistically create a face-like reflection. He maintains that whatever he saw was inside the vehicle itself. If it wasn't a trick of light or reflection, then what was it? That question remains unanswered. A giant gantry crane support leg collapsed during a dismantling operation at a subway construction site in Wuhan, China, crushing a sedan and just avoiding the cabin of a following SUV. One passenger died quickly, while another with moderate but stable injuries was pulled from the wreckage. To ascertain the precise cause of the structural failure, authorities are currently conducting an investigation at the location. This clip, originally shared on Reddit, comes from a truck's dashcam following a deeply unsettling incident. Late one evening, a man and his friend were driving along a highway in Alabama. The road was quiet, the drive uneventful, until something appeared in front of them that neither of them could explain. Out of nowhere, what looked like a young girl dressed in white stepped into the middle of the roadway. The driver reacted instantly, swerving and braking, but there was no time to fully avoid her. Convinced he had struck someone, he immediately pulled over and called emergency services in panic. When police and paramedics arrived, they thoroughly searched the surrounding area. There were no footprints, no injured child, no sign that anyone had been there at all. After reviewing the dashcam footage, even officers were left unsettled. Residents in the area claim that stretch of highway has long been associated with strange accidents and unexplained sightings. Some believe what appeared in the road that night wasn't human at all. David runs his own construction business and spends most of his days renovating homes, often working alone. On this particular project, he was remodeling an older house by himself when something happened that he still can't explain.
But yeah. Whoa, what the hell? This is what I'm talking about. You guys heard that? Whoa. I don't want to go up there. I do not.
According to David, the day had been completely ordinary at first. Tools were laid out, materials were stacked neatly, and there was no one else inside the property. But as he continued working, he began to notice strange noises echoing through the house. At first, they were subtle, small sounds that could easily be dismissed as a natural setting of an older structure. Then the noises grew more distinct. He says he clearly heard what sounded like footsteps coming from downstairs. Convinced that someone may have entered the house, possibly a trespasser, David immediately went down to investigate. What he found unsettled him deeply.
Oh, I seen like an elbow leave this room, but there's nobody else that lives here. This is my client's house. Oh, I swear. Oh my God. Oh, that's what I'm talking about right there. This is shaking. There's nobody else in the house with me. I swear. This is where I heard those footsteps at. Oh, it's coming from here. Oh, there's a little. Oh my goodness. That right there. That right there is always... I'm sorry, I can't even talk right. Doing this job out here, look at... See this job? I'm doing this right here. And man, I've seen things. Maybe some of these other are haunted. What the? Yo, this is moving and this is moving. Why isn't this one moving? I'm used to this shit already. You know what I mean? Like.
The lamps in the room began shaking violently, one after another, despite there being no visible cause. There were no open windows, no strong drafts, and no one else present who could have touched them. As he stood there trying to process what he was seeing, another sound came from inside a nearby closet. It wasn't loud, but it was unmistakable. That was enough for him. David now believes something paranormal may be tied to the house and has decided he will not return to finish the job. Whether it was structural vibrations, hidden air movement, or something harder to explain, the experience left him shaken. What do you think really happened inside that home?
Calling the police. Call the police. Stay back. Look at them.
Shut the door in case he comes in here.
We're going to... Oh, the Shulas are in there. The Shulas are in there. They're in there. Oh, he's attacking him now with a... Oh, my God. They should be very careful. Oh my God! No, stop it! Sorry, they're running. Sorry, they're running. They've now left. They're left towards the green.
Yeah, no one's got any arms here.
A blatant daylight heist attacked a family-run jewelry store with more than 45 years of history in Richmond, London. A smash-and-grab raid occurred at around 10:30 a.m. on January 31, 2026 at the company. By using this strategy, the crooks were able to steal from the exhibit and escape without ever having to deal with internal security. As of this recording, the perpetrators are still at large, even though a car, thought to be connected to the incident, has been recovered for forensic analysis. At around 10 p.m., a family was relaxing on the balcony of their home when something unusual caught their attention. Someone was walking down the street in front of their house, but according to them, there was something deeply unsettling about the figure. The moment felt so wrong that they hurried inside to review their security camera footage, needing to confirm what they'd just seen. When they replayed the recording, the details became even more disturbing. The figure appeared to be dressed in clothing that looked straight out of the 1920s. Even stranger, the person didn't seem fully solid. The image looked partially transparent, to the point where headlights from passing cars could be seen through the body. The family described an intense wave of fear and unexplainable chill as it passed by. They are now convinced it wasn't a normal human being. What do you think it was? One night in Brazil, a man had pulled over and decided to sleep inside his truck. It was quiet, the kind of still darkness that settles in after traffic fades, and most of the world has gone to bed. As he rested, something outside drew his attention. Near a nearby building, a figure stood motionless in the distance. At first, he dismissed it. Maybe it was just someone hanging around, waiting for a ride, taking a break, or simply standing in the shadows. But as the minutes passed, the situation began to feel off. The figure didn't move at all. No shifting stance, no turning of the head, no visible reaction to anything happening around it. Even stranger, its outline seemed vague, almost blurred against the night. Curious and uneasy, he grabbed his phone and began recording. moments later, a motorcycle drove past. Its headlight briefly swept across the area, illuminating the space where the figure stood. But instead of revealing a person more clearly, the beam appeared to pass straight through it. There was no solid form, no shadow cast behind it, and then, just like that, the figure was gone. When the man reviewed the footage, he noticed something even more disturbing. The shape didn't appear to have a visible head. That was enough for him. He immediately left and found somewhere else to park for the night. So, what was it? A trick of lighting, a camera glitch, or something far harder to explain? Whatever the truth, the moment was undeniably chilling. In California's Ontario, a huge beam was thrown onto the road after a semi-truck carrying an excavator collided with a construction-related overpass. A Toyota Camry was crushed by the debris, and another vehicle collided with the barrier. The woman in the Camry died, but both drivers suffered serious injuries. The truck driver remained on site and assisted the police, who verified that neither drugs nor alcohol had a role in the collision. This unsettling footage was recorded by a security camera inside a retail store that sells clothing and athletic shoes. According to the employees, unexplained disturbances have been occurring there for months. At first, they brushed it off as minor incidents, but recently the activity has escalated into something much harder to ignore. In one clip, the store's front door suddenly slams shut with force. A young employee immediately walks over to check what caused it, but he finds no one nearby and no obvious reason for it to move. The moment leaves him uneasy, but things only grow stranger days later. About a week after the door incident, a shoe suddenly flies off a display shelf and crashes to the floor on its own. When the employee bends down to pick it up, the shoe flips over without being touched. Both workers freeze in shock before rushing out of the store in fear. So, what's really happening here? Paranormal activity or something else entirely? A shopkeeper in Anhui, China, felt snow hitting his back while he was cleaning a storefront. Just seconds after receiving that brief warning, a huge pile of snow fell from the roof directly where he was standing, sparing him from harm. A man and his wife decided to get away for the night, packing up their gear and heading out for a peaceful camping trip. They were hoping for quiet, fresh air and a break from the routines of everyday life. The evening unfolded just as they imagined. They pitched their tent, prepared dinner together, and sat beneath the open sky as darkness settled in. Surrounded by nature, far from city noise, everything felt calm and secure. There were no warning signs, no strange sounds, nothing to suggest the night would turn unsettling. But when morning arrived, that sense of peace disappeared instantly. As they stirred awake, they noticed movement near their vehicle. Looking closer, they realized someone was inside. A stranger had entered their car at some point during the night while they slept nearby. The shock hit hard. For a moment, fear took over. They had no idea who he was or what he might do. Yet as they observed him, something unexpected became clear. The man didn't seem threatening. He appeared confused, disoriented, as though he didn't understand where he was or how he had gotten there. Instead of reacting aggressively, the couple chose to remain calm. They spoke carefully, avoiding sudden movements or raised voices.
Hey, think you got the wrong camper. Hey there. I think you're in the wrong camper. Hey, did you stagger into the wrong camper last night? I don't know who you are. Somebody's probably missing you, though. We gotta get up and get ready. You're gonna have to go home. I don't know where home is. Hey, dude. Hey. I don't know who you are. You're in my camper. Whoa. What am I doing in your camper, bro? Well, I don't know. You must have slept a good one off.
Eventually, the stranger exited the vehicle and wandered away without confrontation. No one was hurt, nothing escalated. The experience ended without violence, but it left a lasting lesson. Even in remote campsites, basic precautions matter. A locked car might have prevented the encounter entirely, and had the stranger carried different intentions, the outcome could have been far more serious. Sometimes, the only thing separating danger from safety is a small decision made the night before.
Ôi giời. Gì đây? Mày đéo mày nhìn
đi con mẹ mày ui phát toang à.
Mày nhìn cái à?
Địt con mẹ mày phát đấy đúng, nếu mà mình không đạp nhanh thì đứt với nó luôn.
Tao tưởng nó lần trước địt mẹ.
Địt con mẹ mày sợ thật luôn.
Không kệ nó đi.
Vậy luôn mình địt con mẹ mất lái.
A vehicle rushing down a mountain pass in Ha Binh, Vietnam, swerved around traffic before colliding with a cliff. He and another driver only sustained minor injuries, according to local police, who attribute the collision to brake failure. A chilling clip uploaded to Reddit has left viewers divided. The woman who shared it explained that she had just gotten home from work when she noticed something was off with her dog. He wasn't playful or relaxed like usual. Instead, he seemed deeply unsettled, pacing and staring into empty space as if something invisible has his full attention. Concerned, she decided to check her home security footage. What she found only intensified her fear. In the corner of the video, a pale, almost translucent shape appears to drift across the room toward her dog. The animal immediately backs away, clearly reacting to something unseen. Moments later, another faint figure seems to materialize closer to him, lingering as though it's tracking his movements. Now convinced that something unexplained may be inside her house, she's considering leaving altogether. Is this evidence of something paranormal, or could there be another explanation? For the equivalent of about $1, a man in Mexico known online as DVO bought an old antique doll and brought it into his home. At the time, it seemed like a harmless, even amusing purchase, but according to him, things inside the house began to change soon after. He claims strange and unexplained events started happening. Small disturbances at first, the kind that are easy to dismiss. Then one day, the doll itself disappeared without explanation. DVO says he searched for it but never found where it had gone. That alone unsettled him, but what followed in later years was even more disturbing. One evening, his security cameras captured something that left him shaken.
¿Qué comunicación?
Escuchó mucho.
While reviewing the footage, DVO noticed movement near a window. He also heard unusual sounds, but couldn't immediately determine their source. In the video, what appears to be a pale, face-like shape briefly comes into view. Disturbed, he went outside to investigate. That's when the footage becomes even stranger.
Porque es que está muy oscuro. Fíjense la altura que se ve ya desde aquí, ¿no? Entonces, ay, yo caigo, uy, es que está muy oscuro aquí, no se ve muy bien. No se ve muy bien. Esa es la casa de mi hermana. Entonces, si se dan cuenta, voy bajando las escaleras, ¿no? Y se empieza a hacer todo más bajo, más abajo, más abajo. Este caminito que están viendo es más abajo. Es un sendero que es hacia abajo. Entonces, voy a pisar esto. Para los que digan que alguien se puso una escalera, o los que lleguen a decir que es una escalera, vean la altura. No podemos poner escaleras, para que vean. ¿Ok? Yo mido 1.75. Y eso de... O sea, están viendo... Espero que se esté viendo bien, ¿eh? Pero es una altura considerable. Son más de 2,5 metros, ¿no? Entonces, para que no queden dudas de que... Y escaleras nosotros no tenemos, a menos de que digan, alguien se trepó por aquí así. Y no. Porque se asomó justamente de la parte de ahí. En esa parte fue de donde se asomó. Entonces, como que los arbustos y todo eso, pues no hacen mucho mucho el paro, ¿no?
If you watch carefully, a shadow seems to move quickly across the frame, though it's faint and easy to miss at first. Moments later, what looked like feet disappear beside DVO. Seemingly out of nowhere, a second pair briefly shows up on the opposite side, but he doesn't appear to notice them in real time. He comments on how high the window is, pointing out that reaching it would require someone unusually tall. DVO believes the events are connected to the antique doll and is now convinced his house is haunted. Was it shadows, lighting tricks, or something else entirely? What do you think?
Mantiene como...
Ay, mira, ay, güey, puta, mira, mira, mira.
¡Ay, señor!
On January 31, 2026, a landing at Narcisa Navis Airport in Andi, Colombia, turned stressful when 3 horses bolted onto the runway as the aircraft was braking. Locals say animals on the runway are a persistent problem, and local authorities have not addressed the lack of security, even though the pilot was able to avoid a collision this time.
¡Ay, señor!
On Halloween night in 2022, Rick decided to spend the evening camping alone in a secluded patch of woods not far from his home. The area had a reputation among locals for odd sightings and unexplained stories, but Rick had never put much stock in rumors. To him, it was just another quiet stretch of forest. Isolated, yes, but perfect for filming and spending a peaceful night outdoors. He began the evening near an abandoned church hidden deep among the trees. The structure, weathered and long forgotten, made for atmospheric footage.
Hell is that? Hang on. Did you see that? Or was that just me? There's my gimbal. I left my gimbal there. Swear... This me. Oh, there was someone standing there. There was someone standing right here. I swear to God, there was someone standing right here by my gimbal.
As he recorded his surroundings, narrating softly to the camera, something in the background caught his eye. Near a fence line, partially concealed by darkness, stood a figure. It was only visible for a moment, still and silent. Rick paused, trying to process what he had seen. The shape hadn't moved, hadn't reacted. It simply stood there before bending back into the shadows. Unease crept in. Not wanting to linger, Rick packed up his equipment and retreated to his van, deciding to create some distance between himself and the church. Inside the vehicle, he replayed the footage. The figure was there, clearer than he expected. A person-shaped silhouette standing near the fence, motionless. Despite the discomfort rising in his chest, Rick tried to explain it away. Maybe it was a trick of the light. A passerby, someone curious but harmless. Eventually, he convinced himself it wasn't worth panicking over. Hours later, as the forest settled into deep silence and Rick drifted toward sleep, he was suddenly jolted awake around 1 a.m. There was movement nearby. A vehicle had approached.
What is it? 1 o'clock in the morning. And I swear blind, I just got woken up by someone trying the van door handles. There was a knock. There was definitely a knock. Someone was trying the van door handles as well. I'm going to turn the lights out. Someone was trying the van door handles. Okay. I heard a car pull up. There's definitely a car pulled up outside. I will have a look. Well, that was weird. I opened the van doors and then within a minute there was a car reversing up and it's just driven off. So it's all quiet out there now, so I'm just going to try and get myself back to sleep.
Through the darkness, he could make out headlights and the faint sound of an engine idling too close for comfort. The car lingered, as if whoever was inside was watching. Rick stayed still, heart pounding. After what felt like an eternity, the vehicle slowly pulled away. Relief came briefly, but it didn't last.
It's happening again. I can't believe this. Let me turn the lights on. I've heard that car come back. And it's what? 3:15 now. That van's come back. Well, that car's come back. That 4x4 vehicle. I can't hear anyone. I can't hear anyone talking outside. There we go. There we go. Right. Literally haven't slept. This. I am going home. They've driven off again. I didn't even look out. I just peered through my curtains that I've got up. Through the curtains there, I can see outside, and it's driven off again. I don't know if this is anywhere I shouldn't be parked, but I'm going. I'm not staying here anymore.
The pieces began connecting. The figure near the church, a late-night vehicle. This no longer felt like coincidence. Trusting his instincts, Rick started the van and left immediately. He didn't wait to investigate further. One thing became undeniable as he drove away. This wasn't something supernatural. It was someone real. Someone had been out there in the dark, aware of him. Rick was left shaken but unharmed. Grateful he chose caution over curiosity. Some wilderness threats don't come from the unknown. They come from the people hiding in plain sight. Angela, a social media user who normally shares lighthearted family moments, uploaded a short clip that quickly unsettled her audience. That evening, she had simply been recording her niece during dinner. Nothing unusual, just a casual video of the child eating. But when she later replayed the footage, she noticed something she couldn't explain. In the background of the kitchen, a dark semi-transparent shape appears to move across the room. It doesn't resemble a solid person, yet it's not faint enough to dismiss immediately. The figure seems to glide past the camera's view for just a moment before disappearing. Some viewers were quick to say it was only a shadow, perhaps cast by someone walking out of frame or by shifting light in the room, but others pointed out a strange detail. As the shape passes, it appears to interfere with the lamp's glow in a way that doesn't behave like a typical shadow. Instead of simply stretching or changing direction, the light seems momentarily obstructed. There's more. A few careful viewers claimed the child's movement didn't perfectly align with a reflection in the refrigerator door. The reflection appeared slightly off, almost delayed or mismatched. Of course, glossy surfaces can distort reflections depending on camera angles and lighting. Video compression can also create strange visual artifacts. Still, the combination of the dark figure and the reflection anomaly has left many questioning what they actually saw. Was it lighting, perspective, and digital distortion, or something far more unsettling? On social media, this video became viral. According to footage captured by a CCTV camera in China, the girl confronted a real ghost. What do you think of this bone-chilling footage?
Do not touch me.
I'm not worried about you.
Look at me, brother.
Look at me, brother. I don't care.
You should be.
I absolutely do not care.
Brother, fear should be a real thing in your life right now.
In this video, we see a tense interaction between a deputy and a man named Joel Groen. The deputy spotted Joel revving his motorcycle engine on the side of the road and behaving erratically. Initially, the officer approached to check on him, but Joel became argumentative and refused to provide any identification.
Okay, I watched you sitting here falling over on the bike trying to get it across the road.
Hotter than I don't have shoes on, man.
Okay.
That's all.
Do you have an ID on you?
I don't know.
You have no ID. Do you have any? What? Don't reach in your pockets. Do you have any on you to get you in any trouble?
I don't have a weapon, dude.
Oh, you mind if I pat you down real quick? Make sure you're going. Face that way for me.
The footage shows the situation escalating quickly as Joel refused to stay in a designated area. I feel terrible for the officer who had to manage someone making violent threats and refusing to cooperate. It is frightening how a simple welfare check can turn into a physical struggle when a person becomes combative.
Okay. Down here on vacation or what's going on?
Nope.
What's down here?
I have a place down here too.
Oh, you own a place down here? Okay. So what's going on with you revving your bike?
I can't rev my bike, dude. I have pipes. That's the point.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're down here on the side of the road sitting there screaming, revving your pipe, stop people in traffic.
No.
Then you're coming across the road trying to walk across the road. Okay, but then you're trying to walk across the road with a bike.
No, I wasn't.
You were.
What do you want to do? Fly across the road?
No, but you can't be sitting there going sideways across the road.
You turn as slow as I could as well as I could with my dude.
You have no ID on you. All right, hang tight right here for me. Right here. Hang tight right here for me. Okay, hang tight right here for me. Okay.
I'm standing.
I understand that. Right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand where the
Okay. Hey.
Are you gonna arrest me?
No, I'm having. Get over here. Get over here. No, I'm trying to make sure you're okay. Now stand over here.
No. My shit on right here.
No, right here.
I'm going right here.
Okay, I don't care. You're gonna sit right here.
What you want me to do?
You're gonna sit right here.
Zero say over what I do.
You're gonna sit right here.
Arrest me, let me go. Arrest me.
Over here.
Arrest me or I'm gonna go this way.
No, over here.
No, you cannot tell me.
You are not free to leave.
Yes,
you understand that?
Arrest me?
You are not free to leave.
Arrest me?
Over here.
Nope, I'm gonna go that way.
You're not gonna go that way.
Tackle me to the ground then?
No, I'm gonna have you sit over here. I'm trying to be cordial with you. I'm trying to be cordial with you.
No, you're not. Are you gonna touch me?
Yes, I will put hands on you, okay?
Why?
Because you are being detained. Because you're... Okay, listen to me.
Shut your mouth.
Listen to me.
That'd be the dumbest thing you ever did.
Listen.
Joel threatened to bite the officer's finger off and even claimed he would break the officer's neck.
Okay.
Get your fucking finger out of my face.
Not
I'll bite your finger off.
Do not. You're not. Listen.
I will bite your finger off of your fucking hand.
Okay. Calm down.
Sir,
let me
get
talk
the fuck
to you.
out of my face.
No, let me talk to you.
Get the fuck out of my face.
Get on the ground.
I'm not doing it.
Get on the ground right now.
Really, dude?
Hands on the ground.
For what?
Get on the ground.
A weapon. I have no weapon.
124, give me traffic.
You already checked. I have no.
Get on the ground right now. Put your hands flat on the ground. Get on the ground.
There you go, bud.
Get on the ground right now. You will get tased. Get on the ground.
What?
Put your face on the ground. Do you understand me? Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
What the?
Face down.
There you go, bud.
Put your hands behind your back. You will get tased.
What am I getting arrested?
Put your hands behind your back.
What are you arrested?
You are being detained. Put your hands behind your back.
What, dude?
When Joel tried to walk away, the deputy had to forcefully take him to the ground to secure him in handcuffs. Joel claimed he was a veteran with multiple injuries, including a bad elbow and shoulder, and begged for the cuffs to be moved to his front.
I told you to stop.
I did. You approached me, dude. Ow, please, man. Fucking hey. I got a bad elbow. Do you see the scar? Why are you doing this? Really?
124, one detained.
For what? For what?
Because you're not listening to me.
I don't have to listen.
I told you you were detained, so I figured what's going on. You're walking in traffic.
You said no.
I said you were detained.
Let's go get your dude, get me up off the ground, please.
You can sit down right here.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, I will put hands on you.
Okay, and I'll break your neck.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay, I will break your neck.
Keep talking.
Sir, I will.
You were detained. You were detained.
Okay, for what?
You were detained. Because you're revving stop in traffic.
Did I do anything wrong? Call the cops. Please, man. I didn't do. You saw this all. Please.
Stand up.
Dude, I'll stand up on my own. Get off me. I'll stand up. I have a fucked up. I'm surgically repaired, dude.
Which elbow?
That one you're grabbing, and that shoulder, and that ankle, and this knee, and that foot.
Quit arguing.
What the are you doing to me?
You better quit, man. I'm telling you right now.
Hey, bro, you come get this motherfucker off me, bro.
All right, so I'm on the traffic stop. Be quiet. Be quiet.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Stop. He's on the side of the road just revving his bike motor.
Oh my God, dude. Get the
all these
cuffs
people
off
are coming to me saying, hey, he's drunk, he's tipping over.
I'm sober as I don't even drink.
I never liked seeing a routine interaction end with someone face down in the dirt, but his refusal to follow orders left the police with few choices. Always have your identification ready when operating a motor vehicle or motorcycle. Follow all verbal commands from law enforcement to prevent a physical confrontation. If you are being detained, stay in the spot the officer assigns to you.
I said I'll bite your finger off and put it in my fucking face, motherfucker. Yes, I will. I'm a warrior.
Walking away from me.
Get me the out of these cuffs, dude. And, yeah, what is that? Is that a law breaker? No.
Get him on the ground.
Get this fucking rookie away from me, sir.
Okay. He's been threatening to kill me and my wife.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Get the fuck out.
Get him ID.
I don't have a weapon. How the fuck trying to tase me?
Okay.
He tried to tase me, dude. Are you fucking serious? Passenger, please help me with this situation. Please, guys.
Put your chest right there.
Okay, sir. I will gladly put my chest on the stars and stripes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Oh, my bowl. You just broke my bowl.
Oh, your bowl. You can't have it anyways.
Okay, you can't smoke in public.
I wasn't smoking.
Sit down.
Dude, I wasn't smoking.
Sit down. Put your feet in the car.
What am I?
Put your feet in the car.
Okay, excuse me.
Put your feet in the car. You're going to tote another charge. Put your feet in the car. We'll talk to you in just a minute.
Yet.
Listen, I just pulled up. Did you see me pull up?
Yes,
put your feet in the
right,
car.
man. I didn't do
Put your feet in the car. I'm going to drag your ass in the car.
Can I get my shoes?
Put your feet in the car. We're going to get up. Put your feet in the car.
I barely fit in
Put your feet in the car. I can't help it.
Stand there, please. I'm not even arrested.
Put your feet in the car.
You didn't even read my rights at all. Why am I?
We don't have to read your rights.
What,
put your feet in the car.
In a car? Yes, you do, sir.
Put your feet in the car.
Foster,
drag him over there.
Man, please, man. Please. I didn't do it.
Sit down. Looks like you are going to jail today for resisting an officer without violence.
What? What?
I got a couple questions. They're not relevant or incriminating.
Dude, I'm suing the fuck out of you. Call my lawyer.
Well, I don't need
my
your
wife
lawyer.
Call my lawyer.
So,
call my wife and call my lawyer.
Did you take anything? Do you have any medical necessity to be checked out by EMS right now? Okay, what did you take?
I didn't take any drugs, man.
Okay, so
Can
you put your feet in the car.
You told me to give me my shoes at least, man.
Put your feet in the car.
Don't touch me, kid.
Listen.
Do not touch me.
I'm not worried about you.
Look at me, brother.
Look at me, brother. I don't care.
You should be.
I absolutely do not care.
Fear should be a real thing in your life right now.
How would you react if you were an officer and a suspect friend to bite your finger off? Do you think the officer was right to take him to the ground after he tried to walk away? A swift decision to just show an ID and talk calmly would have kept this man out of a patrol car. A user by the name of Christine posted this video to TikTok on April 19, 2025. Additionally, the video's on-screen text provides background information and describes how her father installed a Ring camera because he would always hear loud smashing noises outside his apartment at 2 a.m. and he spots his neighbor after watching the video. However, what follows is quite strange. you can observe the neighbor repeatedly banging the door, almost in a trance-like state, as if for no apparent reason. With over 40 million views, this video got viral very fast. Furthermore, a lot of people didn't trust Christine, saying she staged things to get views. In order to demonstrate that this was a nightly ritual, she posted an additional video. There are many theories in the comments. Some claimed he was sundowning, while others said he was sleepwalking. For those who are unaware, sundowning is a late-day increase in agitation or bewilderment that frequently occurs in dementia patients. Christine did, however, provide one last update, explaining that the man must have seen her viral video because he returned and yelled obscenities into the camera. However, this already odd meeting became much stranger when he returned later and put an apology note on the door.
Apology letter, he did state that he has been going through a rough patch and that he didn't mean to cause any harm to any one of his neighbors. He never mentioned why he was slamming the door at 2 a.m. religiously over a period of a few weeks. But really, that's really about it, guys.
Thus, it appears that the actual significance of all of this will never be known. However, it appears that he has gotten past his strange conduct, at least for the time being. There's no shortage of unsettling security camera clips circulating online, but every so often, one surfaces that viewers insist feels different. This particular video recorded in 2025 is one many claim hasn't been staged or digitally manipulated. The footage comes from a camera positioned inside a young girl's bedroom. According to her father, Hannah had recently begun waking up repeatedly during the night, crying for reasons she couldn't explain. He initially assumed it was nightmares or a normal childhood phase, but one night the security camera captured something that deeply disturbed him. In the video, Hannah is asleep when her leg suddenly jerks downward. It doesn't look like a small twitch or reflex. Instead, her leg appears to be forcefully pulled, as if grabbed by something unseen. The motion is abrupt and violent enough that the camera, mounted some distance away, seems to shake slightly at the same moment. Hannah wakes up instantly, screaming in fear. Viewers who analyzed the footage pointed out several details. Her foot never appears to push against the edge of the bed in a way that would explain the movement. The pull seems to originate from the lower part of the mattress. Some argue that a child her size would struggle to create enough force to visibly jolt both the bed and a distant camera. Others suggest possible explanations: muscle spasms, bed instability, camera vibration from unrelated causes, or even clever editing. Motion artifacts and perspective distortions can also exaggerate movement in night vision recordings. Still, for those who believe it's genuine, the footage is chilling. Was it a natural explanation that simply looked dramatic on camera, or something far harder to explain? What do you think? On October 25, 2025, a public holiday in Bengaluru, which should have been an ordinary evening ride, turned into a tragedy that would shake the city. 24-year-old Dharan, who worked as a food delivery agent, had just completed a small order and was heading through JP Nagar area on a scooter. Riding with him was his friend Varun, seated behind him as pillion. It was around 9:30 p.m. when a brief, seemingly minor moment set off a chain of events that would end in irreversible loss. As they moved through traffic, their scooter made contact with the right rear view mirror of a dark-colored car. The mirror was damaged in the brush. Behind the wheel of that car was 32-year-old Manoj Kumar, a Kalari Payattu martial arts trainer originally from Kerala. In the passenger seat sat his wife, 30-year-old Arfupi Sharma, who was from Jammu and Kashmir. According to police accounts, Dharan immediately acknowledged the collision, apologized on the spot, and continued riding, intending to finish his route. What might normally have ended as a tense but routine traffic disagreement did not stop there. Investigators alleged that Manoj Kumar made a U-turn and began pursuing the scooter. CCTV footage later examined by police shows the car following Dharan and Varun for nearly 2 kilometers along city roads. The distance between the vehicles steadily closed. Officials confirmed that the car eventually rammed the scooter from behind. The force of the impact threw both riders onto the road. Dharan died at the scene. Varun survived but suffered injuries. In a statement to authorities, he reportedly said the car did not attempt to slow down, it just hit us from behind, he told police. That detail became central to the investigation. Duran lived in Kambahali and supported his father and sister through earnings from delivery apps. He regularly worked long shifts to provide for his family. That evening, he had taken a short detour from his usual routine to spend time with his friend. What was meant to be a break turned into catastrophe. Initially, the case was logged by JP Nagar Traffic Police as an accidental death stemming from a hit and run. However, as more CCTV footage surfaced, investigators began to reassess. Cameras allegedly captured not only the pursuit and collision, but also what happened afterward. According to police, the same vehicle returned to the crash site minutes later. The couple was reportedly seen wearing masks while collecting broken fragments of their car, apparently attempting to remove evidence. With those developments, the case was escalated from accidental death to murder. Deputy Commissioner of Police South Lokesh Jagalasar stated that the footage suggested deliberate action rather than mere recklessness. Charges were filed under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita (BNS), including Section 103 for murder with intent, Section 109 for abetment, Section 238 for destruction of evidence, and Section 3245 for voluntary causing grievous hurt with a dangerous weapon, identified in this case as a vehicle. If convicted, the accused could face life imprisonment, and in certain aggravated circumstances, even capital punishment. While sentencing remains the court's decision, the application of these sections reflects the seriousness with which authorities are treating the case. Police have not publicly cited intoxication as a factor. Official statements focus instead on motive rooted in anger over the damaged mirror. Investigators found no evidence suggesting Duran and Manoj Kumar knew each other prior to the incident. The collision appears to have been accidental. What allegedly escalated the situation was the perception that Duran rode away without addressing the damage. One preliminary report noted that the two-wheeler riders had broken the mirror and left the spot. Police believe this may have triggered a sense of insult or outrage that led to retaliation. Manoj Kumar's profession has drawn attention. As a Kalari Payadu instructor, he trained others in discipline, balance, and control. Yet investigators allege that in this instance, anger overtook restraint. The reported return to the crash site to collect debris has been interpreted by authorities as an effort to conceal involvement, suggesting awareness rather than panic. Could the situation have unfolded differently? Possibly. Duran, working in a time-sensitive job, may have felt pressure to continue riding after apologizing. Had he stopped to exchange details, perhaps tensions might not have escalated. Likewise, had Manoj Kumar chosen not to pursue, the incident might have remained a minor dispute. At the crash site, local residents rushed to assist. Witnesses pulled the injured riders from the road and called for emergency help. Duran was declared dead on arrival at the hospital. Varun is recovering from his injuries. Duran's father, Nagaraj, spoke briefly about his grief. "Who will take care of us now?" he asked. Duran had been the primary earner in the household. His sister shared that he had hoped for a small celebration after work that evening. The accused are currently in judicial custody for 14 days as police prepare the formal charge sheet. Authorities continue examining whether any verbal exchange occurred before the chase or whether additional factors contributed. So far, no evidence of prior conflict has been established. For the public, the sequence is stark: a minor brush, an apology, a U-turn, a pursuit, and an alleged attempt to erase traces. What began as a routine traffic incident now stands before the law as a case of alleged murder. On October 25, 2025, Bengaluru lost a young worker in a matter of seconds. Street cameras captured the unfolding events. Now the courtroom will determine accountability, while a family mourns a loss that cannot be undone. A group of friends were traveling along the Kerala Highway in India, making their way toward a remote camping spot. The night drive had been uneventful up to that point. The road stretched ahead in near total darkness, bordered by open land and scattered fields. There were no street lights, no houses, and barely any passing vehicles. Just a steady hum of tires against asphalt and the occasional sweep of headlights across empty terrain. The atmosphere felt calm, almost dull, until something unexpected appeared at the edge of the road. A solitary figure stood just beyond the shoulder, dressed in what looked like a long white gown. In one hand, it held a small light that glowed faintly against the darkness. The figure wasn't moving. It wasn't walking or waving for help. It stood facing the fields, completely still. As the car drew closer, the tension inside grew. Surely it would react, turn its head, step away, do something. But it didn't. Even as the vehicle passed within only a few feet, the figure remained frozen, staring outward into the empty land. No acknowledgement, no movement, nothing. Was it startled, distracted, or focused on something the drivers couldn't see? The location and the hour made it feel deeply unsettling. Out there, with no signs of civilization nearby, the sight felt wrong. Harmless or not, it was enough to leave them uneasy, wondering whether stopping would have answered questions or created far worse ones. It happened on April 13, 2018, at a busy intersection in Ningbo, China. The traffic signal glowed red above a woman riding a scooter as she approached the crossing. For a brief moment, she hesitated, but not long enough. Whether she was distracted, impatient, or simply misjudged the timing, she made a split-second decision to continue forward. At nearly the same time, a large truck barreled toward the same intersection from another direction. The driver, hoping to clear the junction before the light changed fully, accelerated to beat the signal. 2 people, 2 decisions, one narrow margin at a time. CCTV footage later captured what unfolded next, and it's difficult to watch. As the truck entered the intersection, the scooter suddenly crossed directly into its path. There was no room for braking, no safe stopping distance. In a desperate reflex, the truck driver jerked the steering wheel sharply to the left. The maneuver caused the trailer to swing violently. The scooter vanished beneath the truck's front end as the load shifted and debris scattered across the road. For a terrifying moment, it looked fatal. Bystanders nearby gasped and shouted, certain they just witnessed a deadly collision. The scooter was crushed. The truck's trailer leaned dangerously as it completed the swerve. Everything about the scene suggested the worst outcome possible. Then something unbelievable happened. From beneath the truck, the woman began to move. Slowly, she crawled out from under the vehicle. There was shock on her face, but no visible injuries. No blood, no broken limbs. She stood up, still gripping the shattered handlebar of her scooter, as if trying to comprehend how she was still alive. An eyewitness can be seen approaching her in disbelief, speaking rapidly while gesturing toward the truck. The woman looked stunned, frozen between terror and relief. Authorities later reviewed the surveillance footage in detail. Their conclusion was clear. Both parties had made critical errors. The woman had run a red light. The truck driver had also attempted to push through the intersection before the signal fully changed. There was no evidence of intoxication, no mechanical failure, just 2 miscalculations happening at the same time. Local police did not publicly release the woman's name but confirmed that she left the scene without serious injury. The truck driver, a man in his 40s, remained at the site and cooperated fully with investigators. After questioning, he was not charged with the crime. The woman, however, was cited for violating traffic regulations, a serious offense under Chinese road laws, which apply equally to motor vehicles and scooters. Online, the footage spread rapidly. Within days, millions had watched it. Many viewers called it nothing short of miraculous. I've seen crash survivors, but this is unreal, one commenter wrote. Others credited the truck driver's quick reflexes, and they weren't wrong. When examined closely, the video reveals just how precise the driver's reaction was. A truck of that size does not pivot easily. To swerve without flipping requires extraordinary control. Had he slammed the brakes instead, the impact would likely have been direct and devastating. That single instinctive turn created just enough space for survival. But luck also played a role. When the truck passed over her, the woman happened to be positioned in a narrow gap between the vehicle's front axle and the trailer assembly, a space barely wide enough for a person to fit. A difference of inches could have changed everything. If the truck had been slightly lower, or if she had fallen at a different angle, the outcome would have been catastrophic. Consider how thin that margin truly was. According to global road safety data, thousands of people die every year in intersection-related crashes. In the United States alone, over 40,000 people lost their lives in traffic accidents in 2023. A significant portion involved pedestrians, cyclists, and motorbike riders. Many incidents tied to signal violations or attempts to beat the light. The rule is simple: when it turns red, stop. Yet in moments of impatience, people gamble with seconds. During questioning, the truck driver reportedly told authorities, "I didn't even see her until she was right there. My heart stopped. I just turned." The statement was raw, unfiltered shock, the kind that lingers long after metal stops scraping asphalt. The investigation concluded quickly. No arrests were made. There were no major legal battles reported. The woman returned home alive, though visibly shaken. Her scooter was destroyed beyond repair, a twisted heap of metal and plastic, left as a stark reminder how close she came to dying. The trucking company reportedly covered vehicle damages. but the internet carried the deeper message. Some called the clip a miracle, others described it as a warning. One phrase appeared repeatedly in comments: "She was reborn that day." Local traffic authorities later used the video in safety training sessions. It became a powerful teaching tool. Officers emphasized how small decisions compound in seconds. One official summed it up plainly: "The light was red, that's what matters." What makes the footage so unsettling is not just the impact, it's how ordinary everything looks before it happens. No chaos, no obvious danger, just two individuals each believing they had enough time. After the collision, the woman stood beside her crushed scooter, placing a hand on her chest as if confirming her own heartbeat. A few seconds later, she began to cry, not from pain, but from the overwhelming realization of what she had narrowly escaped. A passerby patted her shoulder and reassured her in Mandarin, telling her she was safe. Even the truck driver appears shaken in the footage. He steps out slowly, looks under the vehicle, then turns toward her with visible disbelief. His posture suggests a man replaying the last few seconds in his mind, aware that a fraction of difference in timing would have meant death. That is why the video resonates so strongly. It's not dramatized, it's not staged. It is a raw demonstration of how fragile the line between life and death can be. One red light, one decision, 1 second. The next time a yellow signal flashes ahead, that image might come to mind, because luck is not a strategy, and it does not always show up twice. Kelly says her basement security camera had been sending her motion alerts for weeks. Each time her phone notified her of movement, she would check the live feed or review the clip, only to find nothing there. No intruder, no animal, no obvious explanation. After a while, she began to assume the alerts were glitches, maybe just drifting past the lens or subtle lighting shifts triggering the sensor. But one evening, something was different. When she reviewed that night's footage more carefully and later enhanced the brightness and contrast, she noticed a shape emerging from the darkness at the base of the basement stairs. Slowly, step by step, what appears to be a strange, hunched figure moves upward. It doesn't clearly resemble a person, yet it doesn't look like any typical animal either. The movement seems deliberate, almost cautious, as if whatever it is climbing toward the main floor. Kelly insists she lives alone and that no one else had access to the house. She maintains the video hasn't been edited or staged and says she has no idea what the figure could be. The clip left her shaken. Skeptics argue that basement cameras often distort shapes in low light. Shadows can stretch unnaturally, and compression artifacts can create forms that appear more solid than they really are. It could be an animal, an optic illusion, or even something partially out of frame, appearing distorted. Still, once enhanced, the image is undeniably eerie. So, what do you think it is? A trick of shadow and pixels, or something far more unsettling? On the night of June 23, 2023, what began as a routine late-night stop for food at a Maxwell Street Express in Chicago's West Pullman neighborhood turned into a confrontation that would spark national debate and leave one man dead. It was just after 11 p.m. Carla Hood stood inside the restaurant waiting for her order. Her 14-year-old son remained outside in the family vehicle. The atmosphere inside was ordinary. Customers scattered around, employees working behind the counter, nothing to suggest what was about to unfold. A man named Jeremy Brown entered shortly afterward and joined the line near Hood. According to witnesses, the disagreement began suddenly. Brown appeared irritated, and within moments, voices were raised. Customers later described his tone as aggressive and hostile. Words were exchanged. The argument escalated quickly, shifting from irritation to open confrontation. One witness told reporters that Brown was yelling loudly, directing insults toward Hood, that made others visibly uncomfortable. As tensions rose, Hood reportedly texted her son to come inside. He entered the restaurant and positioned himself near the doorway, watching the situation unfold. At that point, the argument was still verbal. Then it crossed into violence. Security footage later showed Brown striking Hood in the head. He hit her more than once. She attempted to shield herself, stepping backward as she tried to deflect the blows. The attack happened rapidly but not invisibly. Other customers were present, yet no one physically intervened. Imagine being 14 years old and seeing your mother punched repeatedly while others stand frozen.
In the establishment did anything. And so once he saw his mother being severely hit.
Hood's son reacted. From the doorway, he drew his mother's firearm. a weapon she was legally permitted to carry, possessing both a valid firearm owner's identification card and a concealed carry license. He fired at Brown inside a restaurant. Brown turned and ran toward the exit. Hood and her son followed outside. More shots were fired. Brown collapsed shortly afterward and was pronounced dead at the scene. Police arrived within minutes. Hood and her son did not attempt to flee. They surrendered peacefully and were taken into custody. In the days that followed, the case dominated headlines. Both Hood and her teenage son were charged with first-degree murder. Hood also faced an additional charge of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Prosecutors initially argued that once Brown turned to run, the immediate threat had ended. They alleged that the continued gunfire shifted the incident from self-defense to unlawful retaliation. Then the video surfaced publicly. A local activist released the restaurant surveillance footage online. Within days, it had accumulated tens of millions of views. Viewers watched the argument, the punches, the stillness of the crowd, and the teenager's decision to act. Across social media platforms, one question echoed repeatedly. Was this justified self-defense or was it murder? Public opinion split sharply. Some believed the teenager acted exactly as many would hope a son would act when witnessing a violent assault on his mother. Others argued that deadly force should cease once the aggressor attempts to flee. The debate expanded beyond a single case, touching on gun rights, bystander responsibility, and the legal boundaries of self-defense. As investigators reviewed additional evidence, including cell phone footage recorded inside a restaurant, a fuller picture emerged. Audio reportedly captured Brown speaking in an aggressive and threatening manner before the assault. Witness statements reinforced that Hood was being actively struck when her son intervened.
She was in shock. You know, her mind wasn't right. He told her, on my grandmama, I'm gonna knock you out. Knocked out meaning you're gonna be unconscious. What if she didn't regain consciousness?
8 days after the shooting, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office announced that all charges against Hood and her son were being dropped. In an official statement, prosecutors said they could not meet their burden of proof. After evaluating the facts, the video evidence, and Illinois self-defense law, they concluded there was compelling support for the claim that the teenager acted to protect his mother from a violent attack. Legal analysts explained that self-defense law allows for force, including deadly force, when someone reasonably believes they or another person face imminent serious harm. Prosecutors ultimately determined that standard could not be disproven beyond a reasonable doubt, but the legal resolution did not quiet the controversy. After spending days in jail and enduring widespread media attention, Hood filed a lawsuit against the city of Chicago and several police officers. She alleged unlawful arrest, malicious prosecution, and emotional trauma inflicted on both her and her son. As of 2025, that civil case remains pending. The shooting continues to provoke divided reactions. Supporters argue that the teenager stepped in when no one else would, acting to stop an active beating. Critics maintain that once Brown began running, lethal force was no longer necessary. Others focus on the bystanders inside the restaurant, questioning why no one attempted to physically intervene before the violence escalated. The case forced uncomfortable questions into public conversation. What is the responsibility of witnesses during an assault? How quickly must someone decide whether a threat is truly over? And how do courts measure split-second judgments made under fear and adrenaline? Later reporting revealed that Brown had a documented history of violence against women, information that was not initially highlighted during the charging decision. That detail shaped public perception further, reinforcing for some the argument that the teenager acted to stop a dangerous aggressor. Still, the reality remains complicated. A man lost his life, a mother and her child experienced an event that would likely stay with them forever. A city confronted once again the complex intersection of violence, self-defense, and accountability. There were no easy answers that night. Inside a fast food restaurant, in a matter of seconds, fear collided with instinct. A teenager made a decision most adults hoped they would never have to make. Prosecutors weighed law against evidence and withdrew charges. The public continues to debate whether justice was served. What would you have done standing in that doorway? Would you have waited for police, trusted that the assault would stop, or acted immediately to protect someone you love? In moments like that, the line between right and wrong is not drawn in calm reflection. It is drawn in urgency, and sometimes the hardest part is not judging what happened afterward. It is understanding what it feels like when that choice is suddenly yours. The semi-truck carrying rebar lost power on a steep hill in Mocha, Dominican Republic during a climb, evocative of a well-known Final Destination scene. However, according to local accounts, no one was hurt despite colliding with a residential wall. In November 2021, YouTuber Chelsea Maxine decided to take a leap she had never taken before, her first solo road trip. She planned it just days before Halloween, leaning into the thrill of independence in the open road. At the start, everything felt empowering. The freedom of driving alone, choosing her own routes, and chasing the horizon carried a sense of adventure she had been craving. But as the afternoon light began to fade and shadows stretched longer across the sky, that excitement slowly shifted into something else.
Part of me felt like it should just stay in the car all the way to my destination and then only get out there. And that's how I've been living. I've been living very cautious, overly cautious. I will be okay by myself. This is really freaking me out. But I can do it. It'll be okay.
She still had several hours left before reaching her intended destination. Her fuel gauge was dropping and she hadn't settled on a safe place to spend the night. The uncertainty lingered in the back of her mind as she pulled into a gas station to collect herself and reassess her plan. Almost immediately, something felt off. There was no clear reason, no direct confrontation, but the atmosphere made her uneasy. Trusting that instinct, she finished quickly and drove off. Not long after, she noticed a vehicle behind her that didn't seem to be turning away. Mile after mile, it remained there. Her nerves intensified. Chelsea eventually pulled over, hoping the car would continue past her. It didn't. The vehicle lingered, amplifying the tension.
Guy is literally on my butt. I just had to pull over because this guy was riding my butt and I couldn't freaking see anything anywhere, so I just had to pull over and let him pass me. Literally all the way down the road. And I just keep picturing that movie. I can't remember the name of it right now. I don't even want to say the name of it right now, even if I do remember it. I'm over here. I just pulled into this church really quick.
Later, when she reviewed her footage, she caught something she hadn't noticed in real time, a faint flickering light inside the window of a nearby church she had passed. Soon after, she heard a strange noise that unsettled her even more.
What was that noise? Oh my god.
When she resumed driving, another detail surfaced, subtle but enough to deepen her discomfort.
Guys, he's right there again. The same freaking truck. At least he's kind of backing off now. I don't know. He's still really close, but he was just on my butt. And I just really don't like it. And I don't like that he was pulled over. Oh, it'll all be fine. I'm just not gonna pull over or stop anywhere. I really have to pee though. But I'm not about to stop at a gas station because this whole situation is just sketch to me right now. Like I said though, it's probably just me freaking out because it's my first trip alone.
In the end, nothing overtly dangerous occurred. She made it through the night unharmed, but the memory of that drive stayed with her. Sometimes it isn't an event itself that leaves a mark. It's a lingering sense that something was just one step away from happening. January 2nd, 2025, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What started as a routine call for a restraining order violation was about to spiral into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse through the city streets. The suspect is 23-year-old Kevin. Earlier that afternoon, he had allegedly cornered his ex-girlfriend at a local Popeyes, throwing objects at her car before eventually ramming her vehicle with his own. When officers tracked him to his residence, Kevin wasn't planning on going quietly. As police closed in, he floored it in his silver Mercedes-Benz, igniting a pursuit that put every driver in the area at risk. Speeds quickly climbed over 80 miles per hour. Kevin weaved through light traffic, blowing through intersections and desperately trying to lose the tail.
Clear left, clear right, there's a okay, good.
Okay, good. It's terrible. They're in oncoming traffic.
Yeah. Temporarily lost eyes here.
Last direction.
For a moment, officers lost sight of the silver Mercedes. The air was thick with tension as they scanned the side streets, knowing a suspect this desperate was a ticking time bomb.
Where are they at? Where?
Squad number.
970, Green Tree Road and 76. Green Tree Road and 76. That's 6.
I can't see anything. Okay.
All right.
Just take a lane.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll be out.
I know.
But
Get the f out of the way.
I get in that way.
Then the chase took a violent turn. Kevin lost control, slamming his Mercedes into an unoccupied Ford Escape. With his car disabled and smoke beginning to rise, Kevin did the only thing he had left. He bailed. This is where the situation shifts from a standard pursuit to something much more disturbing.
Running. Southbound 61. Now, eastbound. Stop, police!
As officers sprinted toward a large open field, they noticed something strange. A public city bus was idling nearby. A woman and a young child suddenly scrambled off the bus, their faces twisted in terror. They weren't just getting off at a stop, they were fleeing for their lives. Officers realized with horror that Kevin hadn't run into the field. He had hopped onto the bus and was sitting in the driver's seat, frantically trying to figure out how to operate the massive vehicle. He was seconds away from turning a multi-ton bus into a weapon of escape.
Is he on the bus? On the bus! On the bus! Is he on the bus? Squads, he's on the bus! On the bus! Stop, police!
Police swarmed the bus with weapons drawn. Realizing the bus wasn't going anywhere, Kevin bolted out the side door, but he didn't get far. Officers tackled him to the pavement, ending the madness.
Go that way, that way, that way!
Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Get on the ground!
Down! Get on the ground!
Put your hands behind your back! Hands behind your back! Now!
Drop that. Drop that.
Anyone else? 9918 on 61, please.
I'm not resisting. I can't breathe. Give me your hand.
Hands behind your back now! Hands behind your back now!
They are, sir. Promise to God they are.
You do it now! You do it now!
They are, sir.
Do it now or you're getting tased!
Release! Release your hand! Do it now!
Do it!
I can't breathe. Keep put it back down.
Release your hand!
They are released.
Put it behind your back!
Yeah, they are.
You got anything on you're not supposed to have? I can't right now, your face is in the way.
Yeah, you got anything on you're not supposed to have?
No weapons.
Stop grabbing me.
It's just fucking ridiculous. You're trying to steal a freaking bus, man. I saw you in the driver's seat.
Where's the car?
Probably
He's got something in his pocket. Yeah.
Sit up.
What's in your pants? What's in your pants? What's in your pants?
But as they began to cuff him, the mystery deepened. Kevin began complaining he couldn't breathe, while officers noticed something bulky stuffed down his pants.
What's in your pants? What's in your pants? Nothing that will hurt you guys. What is it?
I'll kill your bleeding. I don't know if it's his or yours. I can't breathe. I'm running with the whole extra 30 pounds on me.
The search of Kevin's person and his wrecked Mercedes revealed why he was so desperate to vanish. Inside his clothing and scattered throughout the car, police found a mobile drug lab's worth of evidence: over 150 grams of marijuana, a digital scale, a bottle of promethazine, and bundles of cash.
He's got something in. It's a big bag. God.
I grab it.
Appreciate it. He had a. You see his light? He had a lighter too. I didn't see anything else. Yeah, I think there was a key on it.
Someone grabbed that.
They might have lighter.
Do your job. I'm talking about my money. Yeah, that's your money.
I got your money right here.
Mine's right here. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, wait, $3.
Did he cut his hand?
Oh. Yeah. Probably jumping the fence.
Going over fences. Right hand?
Yeah.
They already called for medical, right?
Look at that bag.
I don't see him. Like, I should see him in this big open field.
I was like,
he's on the bus.
I was like, what the f***? Because we're coming around with guns, and then, I'm like, is he on the bus? He said, yeah. I was like, oh, shit. And he was up in the driver's seat doing something.
I just see her pointing, like okay, so he crossed the street. I'm like, oh, there's a big empty field there with nobody in it. Oh, there's a bunch of in his pants. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I got that one, I got the other one. Does he have a whole side floorboard? It's the same bag. I got the photo in place, but if I can have you prop her up for me, please. Oops.
Squad number 3, be advised. Officer Cummings is going to be doing follow-up. Numbers are 612 North 32nd Street on Mark Squad.
Somebody said he's got a big bag in his crotch or something. No. Yeah.
He's got more over here.
Yeah, there's shake everywhere. Yeah. Some more in the center console.
Is that promethazine in the bottle?
There's nothing.
No, the promethazine.
Oh.
The investigation revealed that during a short time on the bus, he had terrified the passengers, physically displacing the driver in a frantic attempt to hijack the vehicle. In the end, Kevin's luck ran out. He was hit with a laundry list of charges, including felony fleeing, second-degree recklessly endangering safety, and possession with intent to deliver. In August 2025, he was sentenced to 3 years in state prison. It was a chaotic afternoon that could have ended in a mass casualty event, all captured on the cold, unblinking eye of a body camera. During the early hours of March 22, 2024, dispatchers at the Kern County Sheriff's Office were flooded with urgent 911 calls reporting a horrifying incident near the Wasco Amtrak station in Wasco, California. Witnesses described a man walking dangerously close to an active railway line moments before an approaching train struck him. Given the speed and force of passing trains, deputies immediately feared the worst. By the time officers reached the tracks, shortly after 8 a.m., there was nothing that could be done. The victim, identified as 48-year-old Horatio Ayala Penosa, had suffered fatal injuries. At first glance, authorities believed it to be a tragic but straightforward rail accident. However, as investigators began interviewing those who had been nearby, unsettling details began to surface. Several witnesses explained that Horatio had not deliberately stepped in front of the train. Instead, he appeared to have been walking too close to the rails when he was suddenly pulled beneath the moving cars. Detectives ultimately determined there was no evidence of intent, classifying the incident as a devastating accident. Yet one consistent detail in witness accounts shifted the focus of the investigation. Horatio had not been alone near the tracks. Multiple bystanders reported seeing another man standing nearby when the train passed. After the collision, this individual did not remain at the scene. Instead, witnesses claimed he approached the area of impact, bent down, and picked something up before calmly walking away. That detail immediately raised concern. Deputies began searching for the unidentified man. Not long afterward, construction workers several blocks away spotted someone matching the description. As he approached them, they noticed he was holding a large object. At first, they couldn't comprehend what they were seeing, but as he came closer, the reality became horrifyingly clear. When the impact with the train dismembered Horatio, this man had removed one of the severed limbs from the scene and carried it away. Workers later told investigators that he'd walked down the sidewalk openly holding it, at times swinging it or striking nearby objects. Shock quickly turned into fear as they tried to process what they were witnessing. Then the situation became even more disturbing. According to statements given to police, the man stopped, looked down at what he was holding, and began consuming it in full view of those nearby. The workers were frozen in disbelief. Officers arrived within minutes and detained him without further incident. When questioned, the man gave a bizarre explanation. He claimed the limb belonged to him and insisted he was on his way to a hospital to have it surgically reattached. Investigators immediately recognized the statement as false. He was placed under arrest at the scene. Authorities later identified him as 27-year-old Rando Tellez, who had been living unhoused in the area near the tracks. Detectives confirmed he played no role in Horatio's death and had simply been present when the accident occurred. However, his actions afterward transformed an already tragic incident into something far more disturbing. During the investigation, officers discovered narcotics in Tellez's possession. Surveillance footage also showed him purchasing alcohol earlier that morning. Officials later stated that substance use likely contributed to his behavior. What unsettled many in the community was how ordinary he had appeared prior to the event. Local business owners recognized him as a regular customer and described him as polite, quiet and unremarkable, even earlier that same day. Tellitz was charged with multiple offenses related to the improper handling of human remains, tampering with evidence, and resisting an officer. He ultimately entered a no-contest plea and received 1-year prison sentence. While the legal process concluded relatively quickly, the events of that morning left a lasting impact. What began as a heartbreaking rail accident escalated into something almost incomprehensible. For first responders, witnesses, and the Wasco community, it remains a grim reminder of how swiftly tragedy can spiral into something far darker than anyone could have imagined.
Tetrasnya bocor. Panjang, bocor le. Panjang tadi le, emang le. Oh, ya Allah, kasihan le. Oh, le. Dapat pengalaman. Kasihan, kasihan. Guys, saya nggak tahu ini cara nolongnya ini. Agak jauh tadi Pak, saya kontak sampean Pak. Kenapa ini Pak? Guys.
On February 11, 2026, video circulating online showed a tanker truck stopped along a roadway in Indonesia, with liquid visibly spilling from its tank. Early posts on social media quickly claimed the vehicle was leaking a hazardous chemical fertilizer, sparking concern about potential toxic exposure. In the footage, the driver appears to react immediately. Instead of waiting for assistance or putting on protective equipment, he climbs out and attempts to stop the leak himself. At one point, a pressurized stream sprays directly toward his face. If the substance had truly been industrial fertilizer or another corrosive chemical, the consequences could have been severe. Many chemical fertilizers contain compounds that can cause burns, respiratory distress, or long-term damage with direct exposure. However, further review of local reporting painted a different picture. More detailed sources indicated the tanker was actually transporting sugarcane molasses, not chemical fertilizer. Molasses is a dense, dark syrup that remains after sugar extraction during processing. While it is a natural byproduct containing sugars and organic acids, it is extremely thick and sticky in concentrated form. Although far less dangerous than industrial chemicals, molasses can still cause discomfort. Direct contact with the eyes may result in irritation and stinging, and prolonged skin exposure can lead to mild irritation due to its high sugar concentration and acidic properties. As of this recording, there have been no confirmed reports detailing the driver's medical condition. What initially appeared to be a chemical emergency may have been far less hazardous, but the risk he took was real nonetheless. A Philippine dancing company was on its way to Australia to compete in an international dancing competition. They were waiting for a train at a Sydney station one evening when they observed something odd. It looked like an elderly woman without a head was waiting for the train. The group initially believed it to be merely a statue or a mannequin, but as it moved and gradually started to move forward, everyone was startled and terrified. In this next clip, the threat didn't come from speeding drivers or reckless decisions. It came from overhead, sudden, violent, and impossible to outrun. January 15th, 2026 started like any other weekday morning along Rama 2 Road. Vehicles moved steadily beneath an elevated construction zone that had become part of the daily landscape for commuters traveling in and out of Bangkok. Massive concrete pillars, suspended beams, and towering cranes had loomed above traffic for months. Drivers had grown used to it. Passing underneath felt routine, predictable, safe. That illusion shattered in seconds. Dashcam video captures the exact moment everything goes wrong. Without visible warning, a crane positioned high above the roadway suddenly destabilizes. There is no slow tilt, no gradual shift. The structure simply falls. Steel components and slabs of concrete plunged downward in a terrifying cascade. It happens too fast for anyone below to process. There's no time to swerve, no room to accelerate out of harm's way. The debris slams directly into the lanes of traffic. Cars are crushed instantly beneath the collapsing mass. The force is overwhelming. Metal folding, glass exploding, entire vehicles swallowed under rubble. In moments, a stretch of busy roadway transforms into a disaster zone. What had been an ordinary commute becomes chaos frozen on camera. Emergency crews respond rapidly, but the devastation is already severe. At least 2 people lose their lives. Others are injured, some trapped inside vehicles never designed to withstand thousands of pounds of falling construction equipment. Rescue teams work urgently through twisted wreckage, cutting through steel and concrete in hopes of reaching survivors. As authorities begin investigating, troubling details surface. This was in the first serious construction-related incident along Ramatsu Road. The corridor had previously seen equipment failures, falling materials, and repeated concerns about site safety. For many locals, the risks were not entirely new, yet traffic continued flowing beneath active work zones every day. Officials closed portions of the roadway and launched a formal inquiry into structural integrity, maintenance procedures, and oversight. Questions quickly arise. Was the crane properly secured? Were inspections thorough? Were earlier warnings overlooked? For the families affected, those answers will never change what happened in those irreversible seconds. Footage like this does more than document a collapse. It exposes how fragile normalcy can be. It shows how everyday routines, driving to work, heading home, can intersect with catastrophic failure without warning. On that January morning in 2026, danger descended from above, and for the people caught beneath it, there was no chance to see it coming. On February 18, 2026, a chairlift malfunction at the Gong Changling ski resort in China caused the system to abruptly reverse direction, forcing the chairs to speed and shake in midair. Many passengers then leaped under staff supervision. The impacted equipment has been turned off, according to resort officials, who also reported no injuries. Local authorities are looking into what caused the issue. It's commonly believed that police officers spend their days hunting down criminals, but for Officer Marcos Ayala, one afternoon shift changed the course of events when he himself became the target of the pursuit. It all began in Cathedral City, California on July 27, 2023, another sweltering July afternoon. Nothing unusual, a call about a family dispute on PBIO Trail was received. Nothing that sounded urgent or violent. An experienced cop with a cool demeanor, Ayala rolled up by himself. It was expected to happen quickly, take charge, soothe everyone, perhaps offer some guidance, and then return to patrol. It turns out, however, that not all routine calls remain routine. He came up to the front door at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, tone steady and body cam rolling. He screamed out "police department" like he had done innumerable times before. Instead of using words, however, this time they said what came through that doorway was chaos. The door exploded open. Before Ayala could say anything, 29-year-old Juan Francisco Sosa Jr. lunged forward, brandishing his knife. Ayala's astute judgment returned. Souza, however, was not going to back down. With his blade slicing at the officer's chest, he attacked him once more. Ayala struggled to keep upright, pushing Souza against the wall with his weight. The fight spills out into the open. It's frightening, clumsy, and quick. Then the noise. Kevlar scrapes against metal. The dagger repeatedly struck Ayala's vest but failed to penetrate. That vest wasn't your average piece of equipment. He had to choose between having his name read at a memorial service and returning home. A woman screamed as she fled the residence during the altercation. Ayala can still be heard shouting, "Stay back, stay back, he's got a knife." In an attempt to maintain control, he's defending those who might have been harmed next while fending off an armed suspect. Things almost get out of hand as Souza keeps trying to seize Ayala's service weapon. The officer's voice is tight and controlled as he says, "Put it down, put it down." There is a struggle for survival every second. The backup then shows up at last. Souza is taken to the ground by another officer who comes in. The blade clanks against the sidewalk. The assault has ended. After watching the footage, the neighbors were astounded by what they saw. This is what one resident had to say. "I don't know what's going on in the world right now," she continued. "It seems like everyone is upset. We must pray more."
Frustrating, it's very scary. We pretty much know all the neighbors, but never really socialize with everybody. But you know, it's a nice area, a nice community.
Prosecutors claim that Souza attempted to seize Ayala's gun during the attack, which led to his immediate arrest and further charges of attempted murder of a peace officer, assault with a deadly weapon, and even robbery. He was detained without bail after entering a not guilty plea. In the meantime, what many referred to as a miracle transported Officer Ayala to the hospital. His shoulder was barely slightly cut, that's all. In a week, he was back on duty. It was deemed remarkable by his department. Officer Ayala displaying amazing bravery and self-control throughout an unprovoked, potentially fatal assault. According to a statement from Cathedral City Police, his actions prevented a tragedy and they weren't exaggerating. The later released security footage brutally and clearly depicted the incident. Just reality without any music or manipulation. You see a man approach a home on a standard call and then struggle for his life in a matter of seconds. Until you witness those moments yourself, it's simple to forget what they mean. It wasn't simply another workday for Ayala, it was a matter of survival. Now picture yourself in his shoes. You're banging on a door one moment, the next moment you see someone brandishing a knife at you. You don't have time to contemplate. You have milliseconds to respond. Would you possess the reflexes to defend yourself or even the self-control to refrain from firing too soon? Officers have to make those difficult decisions on a daily basis. In order to teach trainees that no call is ever routine, the department later stated that this incident is now part of their tactical training program. Nowadays, the doorway, often referred to as the fatal funnel, is depicted as the ideal illustration of an officer's greatest vulnerability. Here's what's truly eerie though. Officer Ayala was not someone Souza knew directly. This was neither a quarrel nor retaliation. It was anger, unadulterated, abrupt, and aimed at the person who opened that door. Nevertheless, Ayala made it through it. His training held, his vest functioned, and backup arrived on time, not just by chance. Months later, people in the same neighborhood are still discussing it. Now, whenever I hear a knock, I look twice. You just never know what's behind a door anymore, remarked a woman who lives close by. Cathedral City may have been honoring a fallen cop that week if things had gone differently. However, they are instead paying tribute to a survivor, someone who bravely faced chaos and survived. What do you think then? Would we even be discussing this matter today, or would it just be another name added to the litany of people killed while performing their duties if the knife had reached its mark? Because Officer Marcus Ayala didn't merely answer a call that July afternoon in 2023. Instead, he entered an ambush, and he left again, somehow. On Saturday, January 31, 2026, at approximately 10 p.m., officers for the Colorado Springs Police Department responded to a reported disturbance between two individuals. The initial 911 call indicated that a rifle might be involved, prompting officers to approach the situation with heightened caution. When officers arrived, they located a woman who matched the description provided by dispatch. She was later identified as 30-year-old Micaela Pacilius. Although the original call referenced a rifle, officers quickly determined that Pacilius was not carrying a firearm. Instead, she was holding a large knife. As officers attempted to make contact, Pacilius ran from the scene. Officers gave repeated verbal commands ordering her to stop, but she refused to comply. A foot pursuit followed. During the chase, Pacilius dropped the knife she had been carrying, but continued fleeing on foot. The situation escalated further when Pacilius ran toward a marked Colorado Springs Police Department patrol vehicle. She entered through the driver's side door and attempted to take control of the cruiser. Officers immediately responded, surrounding the vehicle and issuing commands for her to exit. When she did not comply, officers began physically attempting to remove her from the driver's seat.
Put your hands up here to get tased! Do it now! Oh, hell no! Get out of the police car! Get out of the car now! Fuck! Get out of the car now! No! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! No! Guys, grab her! Whoa!
Shot fired! Shot fired! Hey! Hey!
While officers on the driver's side were enraged in the struggle, another officer positioned on the passenger side observed Basilius reaching toward a department-issued duty shotgun mounted inside the vehicle. Believing there was an imminent threat, the officer on the passenger side discharged his firearm 3 times. Basilius was struck at least twice.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Just get your gun!
Shot fired!
Victor 7, shots fired!
Officers were then able to pull Basilius from the vehicle, place her into custody, and immediately began providing emergency medical aid. The knife she had discarded during the foot pursuit was recovered at the scene. Basilius was transported to a local hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. After receiving treatment, she was released from medical care and subsequently booked into the El Paso County Criminal Justice Center. She's been charged with felony menacing, and authorities have stated that additional charges may be filed as the investigation continues. The officer who discharged his weapon has been identified as James McKinstry, a patrol officer assigned to the Stetson Hills Division. Officer McKinstry has been employed by the Colorado Springs Police Department for approximately 14 months. No officers or members of the public were injured during the incident. The case is being reviewed in accordance with department policy for officer-involved shootings. Bushman in Blue is the name of a YouTube channel created by Al, an experienced outdoorsman who films his wild camping journeys through some of the UK's most remote and rugged terrain. Almost every video follows a familiar rhythm: vast landscapes stretching to the horizon, the crunch of boots over gravel and snow, Blue, his loyal dog, trotting faithfully at his side. Al's content is calm, methodical, and practical, part inspiration, part survival education. Viewers tune in for the scenery, the gear talk, and the quiet reminder that life feels different when you step away from roads and routines. But one particular trip would underscore something Al has long implied without ever dramatizing it. In the wilderness, even a perfect day can unravel without warning. The journey began under ideal conditions. Clear skies hung above Scotland's hidden valley, and the air carried that crisp stillness that makes the mountains feel almost welcoming. Al and Blue set out with a simple objective: hike deep into the valley, locate a suitable flat spot, pitch a tent, and spend the night immersed in solitude. It was a kind of outing built around fresh air, silence, and the steady satisfaction of self-reliance.
Well, it didn't last long. It's 5 degrees at the car, so it's pretty chilly, but as I always say, start off with one less layer than you think you need. So within 15 minutes, off it comes. Every time.
As they climbed higher, the terrain grew more striking. Snow clung to upper ridges, sunlight reflected off rock faces, and the valley floor below appeared untouched. The scene felt ancient, almost frozen in time. Nothing about it suggested urgency or danger. Al was properly equipped, ice axe secured, crampons ready if needed. He knew these environments. He respected them. There was no immediate cause for concern. Then the mountains shifted. Across the valley, movement caught his eye. Subtle at first, almost indistinguishable against the white slope. Within seconds, it became horrifyingly clear. A climber had slipped high in a snow-filled gully and was no longer in control. The man was falling.
Well, I don't know if you can see, but that gully up there, someone has just fallen from the top of that gully and has stopped about 3/4 of the way down it. And they were moving fast. I'm just listening out and see if there's any noise or any distress signal there. Don't look like they're moving, to be honest.
The descent was violent and prolonged. He tumbled for what looked like over 150 meters, spinning and rolling at speed, limbs flailing as he tried desperately to arrest the slide. It was the kind of fall that feels surreal until you realize you're witnessing it in real time. Snow sprayed into the air behind him as gravity dragged him downward. Then, stillness.
There is someone on top, which must be his mate, I guess, but hell, that was a long bloody fall. There's going to be a good couple hundred meters there. I'm just going to call through and just see if I get an answer. Jeez.
From where he stood, Al could see the climber lying motionless on the slope. The valley, moments earlier serene, felt suspended in tension. Al listened carefully, watching for movement, knowing how easily a fall like that could prove fatal in freezing conditions. Seconds stretched uncomfortably long. Finally, a small gesture, a raised hand. The signal was faint but unmistakable. The man was conscious. Even so, the situation was critical. A fall of that magnitude could mean fractures, internal injuries, or a head trauma not immediately visible. With daylight already fading and temperatures dropping, being injured and stranded in snow would rapidly escalate from bad to life-threatening.
Well, I just shouted over, and I did get a hand signal, but he was really falling, like proper rolling, arms and legs all over, so there's a good chance he's hurt himself. Anyway, there's two other people here, so I'm just gonna head over and then just make sure he's all right and doesn't need any sort of support to get back down again. Frig me, that was a hell of a fall though, and he was proper just arms and legs doing cartwheels everywhere. Right, let's get over there, eh? He's at the bottom of the gully. Right, okay. Just found these two skiers here, so I'm just going to head up and just see if this guy's alright. But it's going to be a tricky one underfoot.
Reaching him was no simple matter. The snowpack was unstable in places and the slope demanded careful foot placement. Al began moving toward the injured climber, deliberate and controlled. Every step required attention. Blue remained back as Al advanced.
God, I hope he's alright. I cannot leave him without checking though. No chance whatsoever. Dig in, Al, dig in. Come on. Well, crampons on, ice axe out. And if you can see up there, two people now. One guy's walked his way down to the other one. He's moved and he shouted and said everything's okay, but he hasn't stood up. And I just feel I need to just go check in and see what's going on. At least I've got some kit just to at least keep him warm if needed. Oh, God, that was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Rescue dog. Well, nearly to the guy. He's up. Looks like he might be limping slightly, but at least he hasn't broken anything. Oh dear.
When he finally reached the man, the outcome felt almost miraculous. The climber was shaken, bruised, and limping heavily, but astonishingly, nothing appeared catastrophically broken. Pain was evident, but mobility remained possible.
Here he is. What a hellish fall, mate. Are you okay? Well, he's alright, he's a fella. He's just busted his ankle, and I'm just going to sort of lead him down now just to make sure that he's safe while his mate's gone back up just to gather a couple of items that have fallen out of his hands, like his ice axe. He lost his ice axe on the way down. So I've given him mine just to give him a bit of extra support with his ankle, and We're just gonna make our way back down the valley and then I'll just camp out down there somewhere, I reckon. Oh, what a day. What a day.
Al handed over his own ice axe for support and helped steady him. Together they began descending carefully towards safer ground. Progress was slow, each step tested the injured ankle. Eventually the climber's companion returned after retrieving dropped equipment, and the trio worked methodically off the slope. Against the odds, the injured man walked away from the mountain, battered, limping, deeply fortunate. Once Al was confident the immediate danger had passed, the urgency drained from the valley. The silence returned almost unnervingly fast. Wind whispered through the rocks, distant water echoed faintly. It was as if the mountain had erased the incident without acknowledgement. That contrast lingered.
Well, there we go. An eventful day. So basically what's happened is two guys just out with the right kit. They had crampons, you know, ice axe and everything like that, but one more experienced than the other, and they were just basically trying to sort of slide down the gully just slowly. You know, do a little bit of time, just stop and keep sort of doing that. Lost control, slid the whole length of that gully, and I mean that's like, God, there's 150, 200 meters fall there, and from a distance watching that, you know, he was sliding for a while, he was self-arresting, couldn't slow himself down. He then lost his ice axe halfway down, because he started doing tumbles, so he was doing like proper ass over tit, you know, handstand into handsprings all the way down. Came to a standstill. He's bust his ankle, not broken it, but because he's still sort of moving, but a very lucky guy, very lucky. And it just sort of shows you, you know, up in these places, I said to him, one stage further there and you've broken your leg, and then you're in a serious predicament there, just because, you know, it's 5 o'clock now. Another couple of hours, it's going to get dark and you'll be stuck on a mountain and not being able to get off. So yeah, he feels very lucky, I know he does, and I'm just sort of glad that he's all right. And what a top guy, you know, like really top guy. You know, he's bashed his face a little bit, a bit of sort of ice burn and things like that, but yeah, it just shows you it's not a place to mess about. It really is not. Oh dear.
With light fading and temperatures dipping toward freezing, Al reconsidered his original route. Rather than pushing higher after what he'd witnessed, he retreated to a sheltered section of the valley floor where he'd earlier spotted a suitable camping area. It was a calculated decision, respecting conditions rather than challenging them. He pitched his tent, secured his gear, and settled in for the night. The air turned sharp and cold, but the valley remained still. Blue curled beside him. No further drama unfolded. By morning, the mountains looked unchanged. Calm, majestic, indifferent. That is what stays with you. Not tragedy, because this story didn't end that way, but the reminder how thin the margin can be. The fallen climber had experience and proper equipment, yet one slip transformed an ordinary ascent into a potential emergency within seconds. Al packed his gear, left no trace, and continued on. The valley remained as it always had, beautiful, vast, and utterly unforgiving to mistakes. What did you think of this? Let me know in the comments down below.
Venía corriendo una persona, se quemó, weón.
On February 19, 2026, a gas truck driver lost control and struck a big car in Santiago, Chile's Reina neighborhood. The hit caused the tank to burst, igniting a huge cloud of gas. 4 people were killed in the blast, including the truck driver, according to local authorities. At the time of this recording, 5 of the 10 injured individuals were still in severe condition. Although excessive speed is suspected, the cause of the crash is still being investigated. Walmart is widely recognized as a place to go for affordable groceries, last-minute birthday cards, and socks that vanish after only one washing. However, for one customer in Dade, Northwest Miami, what began as an ordinary shopping excursion became an unforgettable experience. Everything took place within a crowded Walmart aisle in late 2022. The woman was idly perusing the area close to the apparel department. Around her, people were going about their daily business, comparing costs, standing in line, and pleading with their parents for food. Nobody could have predicted how quickly that routine setting would devolve into mayhem. Surveillance footage captured the instant a man unexpectedly came up behind her. He was eventually recognized by the police as David Harvey, who was around 30 years old. He suddenly seized the woman, lifted her dress, and made unwanted physical contact with her. He pushed her to the ground while she yelled and tried to push him away. According to witnesses, it happened so quickly that nobody initially recognized what they were seeing. A neighboring woman said, "Hey, stop that." Another hurried toward them after dropping her shopping basket. 2 men, one wearing a dark blue shirt and the other a black one, hurried in. One shouted, "Get off her," and dragged Harvey away as the other held him down on the ground. As other people hurried over, the scuffle was captured on cell phone camera. A man's voice can be heard saying, "Call 911 right now." For a brief moment, that Walmart aisle seemed less like a store and more like a wrestling match. People retreated, some froze, while others clutched their children. It feels like something from a bad dream. I didn't even know what was happening until I heard her scream, a customer later stated. The woman was scared but physically uninjured when the cops came. Harvey was immediately taken into custody. He was already on probation for a previous offense, according to the officers, and this new attack might result in years of incarceration. Investigators claimed that Harvey had no previous relationship to the victim. He was unknown to her. He had just gone for her in the middle of the day, with everyone watching. The entire town was shaken, according to reporters who later spoke with customers outside. "It's frightening." Local 10 News was informed by one man, "I frequently visit here with my children. That's not what you expect in the middle of the afternoon. No one would do that," said another woman. "He has a big problem." Not merely the attack itself is the most eerie aspect of the video. Everything seemed so normal just a few seconds ago. A woman perusing, a man passing, children giggling, and then an abrupt scream. That's how quickly safety can go. A number of witnesses to the assault reported that they couldn't stop imagining what may have occurred if no one intervened. "I don't even want to imagine how it would have ended if those guys hadn't jumped in," one customer said to the reporter. Those bystanders' prompt intervention did more than only halt the attack. Within minutes, they assisted police in apprehending their culprit. Harvey was later charged with several offenses, including attempted sexual battery and burglary with assault, according to Miami-Dade police. They urged anyone with information to get in touch with the sex crimes investigation team, adding that they thought there might be more victims. The police report's lone statement, "We believe there may be other victims," added to the story's unsettling elements. Walmart staff returned to the store and attempted to reassure trembling customers. Detectives were still photographing the area where it all occurred, and a police car remained stationed next to the entrance for hours. This is what a clearly dissatisfied consumer said.
I don't even know what to say. I might have lost the words. Where's the protection? It's a shame. It's a shame because it's kids here that come here.
The tension was still evident when Harvey showed up for bond court the following morning. When the prosecutor revealed that Harvey had been on probation at the time of the incident, the judge was noticeably uneasy. The court imposed a $50,000 bond and mandated that he not communicate with the victim or the Walmart site. Many customers claimed that they were still uncomfortable going back to the store even after he was in prison. As he loaded his car in the parking lot, one man remarked, "You can't help but look over your shoulder now. We've gotten too used to thinking danger only happens somewhere else." The victim has avoided the spotlight and has not disclosed their name for privacy reasons. Witnesses, however, make it evident how afraid she was and how appreciative she was to the strangers who intervened. "They saved her," a resolute customer stated. "Those men, they didn't hesitate for a second." It's not simply the crime that makes this case so compelling. It's also the everyday context. A place that millions of people know so well, instead of being afraid for their lives, people go there to buy cereal or toothpaste. It also serves as a reminder that in the most unexpected circumstances, bravery may emerge from unexpected people. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reports that every year in the US, more than 400,000 cases of sexual assault take place in public or semi-public areas. That amounts to almost 1,000 instances appearances per day. Although the reality is disturbing, it adds even more significance to the deeds of those hasty spectators. Online, the footage from that day has received a lot of shares. Although it's difficult to see, many claim it serves as a reminder that anything may happen anywhere, like what happened at Walmart. Even while the attack itself caused wounds, some strangers' bravery has shown something strong as well. There are still people who are willing to help out, even during chaotic situations. That's what prevented this tale from taking on a far darker tone, and it is the reason the situation is so horrifying. A reminder that who is standing close by can sometimes make the difference between tragedy and survival. Walking alone through an empty hallway late at night can feel unsettling on its own. Long, narrow corridors tend to amplify every echo, every flicker of light, every distant sound. But when a hallway looks particularly dim and deserted, that unease can turn into something far heavier. In 2016, a YouTube user known as Spurg Burglar from Washington State shared a video that captured exactly that kind of tension. He explained that his apartment was located upstairs and that several nights a week he had to pass through the same corridor in the middle of the night. The setting itself was already eerie, harsh overhead lighting, blank walls, and a stretch of emptiness that seemed to shallow sound. But it wasn't the visuals that made the footage disturbing. As he walked, a strange noise could be heard. It was rhythmic and heavy, almost like distant music, yet not quite recognizable as anything specific. The thumping seemed mechanical, deliberate. The closer he moved toward the end of the hallway and into another connecting corridor, the louder it became. Then another layer of sound joined in. A deep, pulsing beat, like a heartbeat, rose beneath the original noise. While the first thump began to fade, that pounding rhythm lingered. Soon after, faint, almost ghostly music crept into the background. It grew more intense as he neared the elevator. At one point, the video itself appears to distort slightly, adding to the tension. Viewers can feel their own pulse quicken, anticipating something emerging from the darkness. And then, just as he presses the elevator button, the sound abruptly stops. Complete silence. No explanation, no reveal, just an unanswered question hanging in the air. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.